groovy.
Yoo-hoo, and thanks for tuning in to another cult horror movie review. It's been a while since we've covered any 1950s B-movies, so let's take a look at a classic of science fiction and horror with Them. A movie about giant mutated ants that run amok. When you say it like that, people will most likely dismiss it as a cheap and silly and utterly forgettable sci-fi flick. And while this is a monster movie, it's surprisingly above average and way better than a lot of its counterparts. But just before we get going, if there's a cult horror movie you'd like me to review, just leave me a comment down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and let me know your thoughts and feelings on Them. So as I was saying, a police officer in the New Mexico desert starts to find abandoned trailers and local shops torn apart by a terribly vicious unknown force. Sergeant Ben Peterson, played by James Whitmore, can't seem to find the source of this strange high-pitched sound everyone keeps hearing. What do you know? It looks like the culprits are none other than a colony of giant mutated ants. These horrible creatures are the effect of the radiation residue from the atomic testing that was done in the area. The first thing I liked about Them is that you don't see the ants until 20 minutes in. The screenplay builds suspense and mystery fairly well, which keeps the audience yearning to see what's happening next. The cast is also likable, the characters are a little better written than most of these other films. They're not that paper thin and totally disposable. Even though they are stock characters, it's done right. And both James Whitmore and Edmund Gwenn give memorable acts in this film. But now let's get to the real stars of the show, in my opinion, and that would be none other than the ants themselves. They look really cool. For a monster movie released back then, they must have scared and really grossed out a lot of people that went to see it. Even to this day, the mechanical ants look pretty creepy. If you only see 3 ants in one shot, that's because the crew only had those 3 models to work with. I was surprised to learn that the film was actually nominated the year it came out for an Oscar award in the special effects category. Sure, the ants may look a little bit cheesy and tame for today's standards, but I still think they look really good and they elevate this film to higher standards. The movie was supposed to be shot in color, but at the last minute the studio made budget cuts, and so it was made in black and white. Only the title remains in color, which is really cool. In the end, it was better that it wasn't made in color. I think it looks much better without. There is one negative thing I can say about this movie. The second half starts to lose steam. It almost becomes more of a detective story, as the characters are trying to find where the ants have gone to next. But that doesn't change the fact that Them is a solid sci-fi horror monster film, and one of the best in the genre. I'm not the type of person that thinks every single movie on Earth should be remade, but I am genuinely excited about the modern remake that is currently under production. If they took a modern approach to Them and brought new ideas to the table, then this could be a blast. So we'll have to wait and see. But for now, I recommend you go watch the original.